Welcome, everyone, to yet another broadcast of Southern Virginia Athletics. Art Furley here with Mike Harmon in the barn for another volleyball contest, our second in 24 hours.
Yes.
The Knights putting away the Lynchburg College team last night, and now facing Wesley, a conference opponent, the Wesley Wolverines. A much more important game for the team than last night's.
Yeah, this will solidify their postseason opportunities with a win. Seeding will play out with Christopher Newport against Marymount later on this afternoon, but the Knights are in if they win.
And win is the name of the game today. I think they've got a pretty good chance at it by early indicators, at least. We look at some of the common opponents that they've played this year. There's been 3 of them. 2 of those teams defeated Wesley, and Southern Virginia defeated them. The last one, Christopher Newport, who handed it pretty handily to both of them. Clearly the top of the table in the Capital Athletic Conference.
Yeah, Wesley comes in at 1-5 in the conference, and they've been on a downward spiral over the past couple of matches, and we're hoping that the Knights will continue that trend for the Wolverines.
Yeah, they started the season very strong, 11-6, but since then have gone 0-6 in their last contest, so now 11-12 overall, and 5 of their last 6 matches they've lost in straight sets, 3-0. The other one they lost 3-1. Another interesting kind of fun fact about Wesley, they've only had 1 match all year go to 5 sets, which they ended up losing at Lincoln, Pennsylvania.
Well, that bodes well for the Knights. We're not going to talk about hoping that they win in straight sets. Just get the win.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. A win at all at this point would be helpful, certainly, particularly to solidify those postseason hopes. We will see just how well they can do that here shortly. We've got starting lineups coming in, so we'll have those for you in just a moment, as well as the teams line up to get started in this one. In case you missed it, we had like we said, the win yesterday versus Lynchburg College. The Southern Virginia football team just hosted Morrisville State. Lost that one in a what looked pretty one-sided for a while, but the Knights able to put it together a bit in the fourth quarter and make more of a contest out of it. But now the volleyball match about to get started here, and then we've got men's and women's soccer afterwards as well. It is one heck of a weekend if you're a sports fan here on Southern Virginia's campus.
A full day for sure. And that's, just another part of the liberal arts education, having a lot of things happening at the same time. We'll have the prayer and the national anthem in just a few minutes, so we'll break away and then come back when we start to open the starting lineups. Consumption of alcohol or drugs is prohibited and is cause for expulsion from any event. Those persons violating these guidelines will be asked to leave the premises. Also, as an announcement, please be aware that the entire wood floor is playable surface. We request that fans not sit on the front row of the bleachers as to avoid potential injury either to yourself or a scholar athlete. As a customary at Southern Virginia University, before any athletic event, we will begin with a word of prayer, which will be offered by Caitlin Tuset
What a stirring rendition of the national anthem. We say it every time, but we've got teams on this campus that are really deep, that have a deep bench to go to, and certainly I think the music department here is very similar.
Yes, they are. It's great to have that type of talent. Being able to mix in with the athletes just makes for a great campus atmosphere.
Very, very true. With that, we've got the starting lineups coming in. First for the Wesley College Wolverines. At libero, we've got number 3, Megan Marshall. At number 6, Jessica Tynes. Number 10, Tioni Graves Brown. Number 14, Tania Rounds. Number 16, Charlene Coyne. Number 21, Cody Zilkowski. And number 24, Beth Schlecker. Mike, you got the starting lineup for the Knights.
Yes, and it's a familiar lineup from the same as last night. Starting at libero will be April Bennett. Then we have number 5, Shannon Romito. Number 10, Caitlin Talusik. Number 11, Hannah Phillips. Number 12, Callan Berry. Number 13, Vanessa Pollitt. And number 15, Caitlin Eaton. And we did talk to the trainers earlier on. Caitlin's been battling some back spasms for the last 3 weeks. She's been getting treatment for it, just turned the wrong way last night, but this is something that's been going on for a while, and being a senior, she is going to battle through it.
Yeah, not a ton of opportunities left to play competitive volleyball. Certainly being a senior in college, that you see that coming to a close. She wants every minute, but that's, as we say, a familiar lineup. That is very, very good news, considering the asset she is to this team. And if the substitution or the difference in the lineup were her being out, that would not bode well for the Knights.
No, especially this late in the season where you have people gelling together and learning. They've learned how to play with each other for so long. You don't want to make any kind of drastic changes right now.
Very true, and particularly as you're heading into postseason, Wesley today, you don't want to underestimate any opponent, but not one of necessarily the hardest teams that the Knights play this year, so maybe not as important to have her today, but as you look forward to the postseason, which I'm sure the Knights certainly are, that will become very, very important to have not only your best players out there, but as you mentioned, the team you're familiar with, the lineups that you're familiar with.
Yeah, and hopefully the Knights aren't looking ahead to doing some scoreboard watching with Marymount and Christopher Newport. That is a huge game that will determine a lot of seeding going into the tournament.
Well, we are underway now. Caitlin Slustig starting it off. And a misplay right off the bat by Wesley. That's Tioni Graves Brown hitting it directly into the post off of one.
Great start for the Knights, but we've seen this start before. It's just, can they sustain it throughout other sets? Caitlin's been doing really well with with serving, and as soon as I say she's been doing really well serving, she steps on the line.
Well, the Knights have had times this year, certainly, where they've hurt themselves that way, ending their own services quickly. Bennett, Slustig, Eaton, dug out well by Marshall. Free ball over. Bennett, Slustig, Phillips. Dug out again. Over in 2. Bennett able to get underneath it. Slustig. Roll shot over by Romito. Dug out again. Slustig. Bennett. Romito playing off the net. And the Knights come away with that one.
And that was great plays by the Knights. They were always on the offensive, keeping Wesley on the defensive, roll shot after roll shot. This is what we saw last night also, is that first set, they were able to just go hard.
It's true. One of the things that we saw earlier as well, difficult for the Knights to get momentum going early, but we'll see if they can do it. They've got a good start today, 3-1.
Yeah, and again, we've sang this song over and over again. Let's get through the first set, see if they can carry it on into the second set.
3-1, a good start. Very low serve. And that one unable to get over. Boy, that was a sinker coming from Phillips. Barely able to get over the net, which is exactly where you want it.
And Phillips is able to put a lot of topspin on that serve to make it dive as soon as it gets across the net.
And again, taking well, that first hit very important. And made it difficult. Now Bennett, Slustig, Eaton, finding the floor. And a very good start for the Knights.
And it's always nice if you can, in the first 2 or 3 rotations, if you can gain 10, 12 points. that keeps you just on the toes all the time.
Into the ceiling again. That changes direction. So hard to adjust to. Jessica Tynes looked like she had a beat on it, but of course when it's arcing up like that, the path of the ball changes drastically when it hits the ceiling and just drops. And a quick timeout taken by the Wolverines, trying to react to this sprint that the Knights have gone up 6-1.
You know, and they haven't been as energetic as they were last night. We haven't seen a lot of jumping around, which is what we talked about. Maybe having them be a little bit more controlled with their enthusiasm, because again, it's starting to get in late in the season. Legs are starting to go, but if they can control that enthusiasm, maybe that'll sustain them throughout the match.
Well, and we've seen a little less energetic celebrations,
yes.
But their energy in the actual game has been higher. We didn't see this many hard spikes and kills early in the match last night at all.
Yeah, execution is great right now.
Yeah, they're performing at a very, very high level, despite their propensity for slow starts. Certainly not the case in this one, so we just need to see, again, if they can keep this up, keep the foot on the gas, and finish this one off.
Now, Phillips again serving, keep it in bounds.
And wouldn't have, but was dug out. That one played off the hands. Well played that time by Jessica Tynes.
And so a great timeout for Wesley. We're able to right their ship, but now it's imperative for the Knights to say, okay, you got one, now we're going to take it right back from you.
Yeah, Megan Marshall able to save that one. That one low. Push to the back line. Continues this one to the back line. Saved by Phillips, over and one. Slight misplay, and that's not going to go over. That was kind of a tough possession initially by the Knights. Went over from Pollock to Tlustik, and then smart play by Ramito just to get it over. And by so doing, saves the possession. Not pretty for anybody, but point for the Knights.
Shannon was trying to run a slide, and the set just wasn't high enough to let her get there. But again, like you said, smart possession, get it over, better the ball for herself.
Very true. Eaton's service. That one far to the back. Off the ceiling as well for the Knights this time. They're able to save and put it over. Roll shot by Pollock. Kept alive. Played off the hands of the defender. Eaton dug it out in the back line. Tlustik putting it over in two. Still alive. Push to the back line again. Eaton. Tlustik. Oh, what a smart play at the net that time. Callan Berry goes up for the spike, sees it's not there, and just redirects it right to where she needs it.
Switched hands. She was going up to hit it with the right hand and switched over to the left. Excellent athletic play.
Service continues. Overpass, and great job by that time. Berry again. Boy, she's certainly coming into her own.
She is, and it's a great time for her to come into her own also. Give the Knights more weapons and more notoriety as they go through these matches.
Eaton to the back line, dug by Marshall. Shot to the back. It stays in, and the point will go over to the Wolverines. But a 9-3 lead already for the Knights, starting off very, very quickly.
Yeah, at this rate, a 3-to-1 ratio, you can't ask for a lot more.
Yeah, you're good with that.
Coach Lee. Yeah, Coach Lee, you've got to be excited about this one.
Service coming over, Pollock. Tlustik, Pollock. Oh, great dig by Marshall. Kept alive. Back over. Phillips, Tlustik, Pollock. And puts that one down hard right at Graves Brown. Not a whole lot you can do when it's coming right at you.
No, there's not. And the teams that are going to be playing the Knights forthcoming now, they're going to have to understand if they don't do something to make the passers have to move to pass the ball. Pollock, Eaton, Phillips, Ramito, all of them are going to bring the ball back hard at them.
That one long into the ceiling again. Arkansas, great adjustment. Oh, and just short on the hit from Phillips. Boy, already today, I think more than any match we've seen this season, the ceiling coming into play quite a bit.
Yeah, a lot of redirections and adjustments. Again, it's affecting both teams, so you can't sit there and say, well, you know, they get to practice with it more than we do. It's both teams.
Well, and if anything, that is the advantage. The Knights do get to practice in this scenario, but when come game time, it cuts both ways.
It does, and you never know which way the ball is going to go off. It's not a predictable path.
Very true. Rachel Hostler now in. Bennett, Arkansas. Put over just a bit by Owen to the back line. Phillips, Bennett. Pushed over by Owen. Boy, I'll tell you, not the prettiest shot by Owen, but it got the job done.
Effectiveness, right? So we're looking to being effective and not being the pure power so far.
Function over form, I guess.
Exactly.
Oh, very functional. 11-5 now. There's that dangerous front line. It was a great block at the net by Barry, but I'm guessing you're going to say she needs to turn her hands to redirect the ball a bit.
Well, hopefully also the Knights are starting to see that there's not a lot of diversity in Wesley's attack. It's all the outside hitters so far, so they can start to sneak over and set some blocks a little bit tighter to the net.
Marshall service to Arkansas. Played off the hands by Barry. Coming back to the Knights this time. Great stop at the net, but kept alive. Owen able to deflect that one down by herself. Off her hands that time. Pollock. Oh, and again, looked like Arkansas wanted to get the set, and Owen was like, no, I got this one. Melissa Owen elevating, putting it over on two, and just kind of dumping it.
Well, when you're about a foot taller than the setter coming in,
it helps.
You have priority, right?
Absolutely. Bennett service over. Going to have to be a roll shot from the back line. Pollock. Arkansas. Oh, great job. It looked for a moment like it was a bad decision perhaps by Caitlin Eaton, but far be it for me to second guess her. Right into the hands of the defender, right out of bounds, point to the Knights.
Caitlin does a great job of swinging for the high hands and causing the blocker to go different ways. She knows that sometimes it's not have to go down, but as long as the ball goes out of bounds, everything's great.
True. And with that, another timeout taken by Wesley. Looks like they were exchanging points again for a while there, but then the Knights able to go on a bit of a run. Now 14-6. The lead is 8, and that's a substantial lead at any point in the volleyball match.
Yes, and again, you were talking about functionality over form. Not a very pretty game. We haven't seen a lot of hard hits go down, not a lot of jumping around celebrating, but the Knights have created a nice gap for them. And this is what we were hoping to see last night.
Yeah.
Not a lot of jumping around and celebrating, but just create that gap and then keep on moving out towards that 25-point mark.
Well, and I got to say, no matter who you are, you have to appreciate a game where you're up 8, where you're playing really well, over a game that looks really good that you're losing. So if you have to take one or the other. Oh, speaking of looks really good, that was Caitlin Eaton seeing that overpass on frankly, a great dig attempt by Graves Brown, but able to just put that down. She was very excited at that.
And April Bennett has it going on at the service line right now. She had that nice short serve, brought him up. Now that top spin serve caught the top of the net cord. She's got the defense on a string right now.
And the timeout not helping at this point. Play continues to the Knights. Roll shot over. Believe that was Phillips, Arkansas. Phillips blocked at the net, and it stays inbounds. Now the service broken by the Wolverines, but the lead is 9.
But you don't mind that when you have a server that gets 3 or 4 points at a time. You know you're not going to run out 25 straight points.
Well, especially because they're doing a great job of holding the Wolverines to short services as well.
Yeah, that's the big key is that, okay, we give you a point, but we're going to take it right back.
Pollock able to get under that one. Arkansas saves it, and it's over just short by Owen that time. Unable to connect.
Great serve there by Schleckler. Not able to get up underneath it high enough to let Arkansas get there to make a great set.
Arkansas back set. Owen didn't look like she was expecting it.
Yeah, and that's a tough set to make. When you're running one way, and you're getting further and further away from the right side, that back set is really hard to do. I'd like to see Valerie be more stationary to try to make those back sets.
Beth Schlecker, service tough to handle. Phillips able to dig it out with the help of Arkansas. That one into Bennett. The Knights with an opportunity now. Arkansas gets right under it. And the push over. And that point is going for a double hit, I believe, on Caitlin Eaton.
And just as we've started to praise them to look like they got everything going on, Schleckler gets back there. She gets the defense of the Knights on the string. And again, the passes have to happen correctly for the Knights to do anything offensively.
Yeah, and the timeout immediately taken, I think Coach Lee recognizing, yes, we've got a big lead. Yes, we've been doing pretty well. Yes, we've probably got this under control, but we don't want to leave any doubt, leave any, opportunity for these mistakes to grow. Let's clean them up now, finish strong, perhaps looking more towards what it'll do for the subsequent sets rather than the impact immediately.
And it's been fun watching Coach Lee mature as a coach this year. Moving from the assistant seat to the head person's seat, it's only 6 inches, but it's miles away because you're in charge of all the decisions and stuff. And so watching her grow along with her team has just been fun for me.
Well, it's also been fun to watch Melissa Owen go the other way from coming in as an assistant coach, realizing she had eligibility, and coming back as a player. Do you think it's a bigger gap going from the assistant coach's seat down to a player seat, or from the assistant coach's seat up to a head coach's seat?
Definitely from an assistant to the head coach. When you go backwards to a player, you have no real responsibility except, hey, I get to get out there and play again.
Great step by Arkansas, touched over by Eaton. Kept alive, though, pushed to the back line. Bennett, Arkansas, Phillips, floor, and it favors the Knights.
So here's the substitution for the 6-2 for the Knights. Talusik and Ramito check in for Arkansas and Owens. Again, very deadly combinations, always keeping those 3 hitters up front.
Yeah, Arkansas has done a really good job today, but for some reason, things just seem to go better for the Knights with Talusik in that lineup. Very talented. Kind of a bailout that time. Ramito putting it down, and it's going to be point over to Wesley.
You call it a back row attack there, and I don't know where the back row attack. Oh, what happened was April Bennett set the ball in front of the attack line using the overhead pass instead of the underhand pass. Automatic point for Wesley.
Phillips, slew stick, roll shot over by Ramito, I believe. Push to the back line. Pollock, slew stick, Phillips, and puts it right down the line. The Knights able to answer back.
And Phillips has been peppering that line all night long. It's good to see that she's just not one of those cross-court hitters, but able to hit all angles.
True, and she's back at the service line where she's done a lot of damage today already. This one taken well, though. Goes down the line. Bennett, slew stick, Pollock. Pollock blocked it right back down to the center of the court. And that service this time by Phillips ended very quickly.
And when we see Pollock at her best is when the sets are a little bit shorter. Height to the top of the antenna, those little shoot sets.
Bennett saves that one. Phillips, and over by Ramito. Dangerous situation for the Knights, able to block it up at the net. And smart shot that time. That's Tynes, able to put it down the net. Knights not expecting that one and unable to get it underneath it, and all of a sudden leads down to 4. This one much more in dispute.
Yeah, it started out with the Knights totally in control, and now Wesley's pulled right back into it.
Yeah, Charlene Coyne very long on that one. Freshman from Bear, Delaware. Airmails that one. Eaton sends it over. And another one long. Perhaps the excitement of getting back into this one a little bit, hurting the Wolverines, as a couple sent very long. Eaton back at the service line.
Great serve by Eaton.
Yeah, well done to preserve that one, though, the possession. And great job playing off the hands of the defender, Callan Berry. Boy, she's done really well today.
She's could be, if we had a player of the game, she could be the player of the game.
Oh, we can have a player of the game. It just doesn't necessarily mean anything.
That's true.
Another one's very long. As a matter of fact, maybe our player of the game is who we decide to interview in postgame, in which case Barry might be disappointed if she gets it.
That's true.
A lot of the players we talk to, they're like, oh, do I have to? Yes, you do. I don't have the authority to say that, but sure. Slew stick. Pollock pushes to the far side. Nice back set. And smart thought by Phillips to try to play that one up, but it rolls off the back of her hands. And that stops Eaton's very long stretch of service. But they've gained a lead back to 7.
And you got April Bennett back in to play defense for you now. So, we love to see Caitlin in there serving. She does a great job for the Knights and gets a lot of points. But there's a defensive liability when April's not in there.
Yeah. She's so good at spotting where the ball's going, getting to it quickly, getting underneath it. 3 things Wolverines suffered with on that last possession. Ramito finding a big spot on the floor, no one from Wesley even making a move for it.
Yeah, there was a huge gap in the middle of the floor, which is somewhere you never want the gap to be.
Arkansas's service now, nice back set, touched over, and there's Bennett doing exactly what we talked about. Pollock following it up. Push shot, Arkansas. Bennett, Owen, and that will go down off the hands of Tatum Jones. 1 point now to close. The Knights 24-15. Valerie, Arkansas looking to wrap this first set up for the Knights. Oh, and just short. That's a shame because I was about to say this would have been, if they won 25-15, that's exactly what they won the first set last night. That's going to send Rachel Hostler to the line.
Well, now the Knights get a chance to end the game on a great point.
Kind of a sinker to Phillips, to Arkansas, back set, and Pollock. Hard shot, but just to the outside.
Pollock needs to snap down like she's doing a crunch a little bit more, trying to get more emphasis on being on top of the ball and pulling through it.
Shot long to the back line. Bennett. Arkansas. And put down. That'll do it. Callan Berry. So far, so good. The Knights 25-17. A couple of points shy of how they would close out the first set. But again, looking back at how last night went, they had a very strong first set and a catastrophic second set.
And that's putting it lightly.
And it's a bad sign when the word catastrophic is the light explanation of it. So what do you think the Knights do to prevent that from happening in the second set here today?
Well, this is fresh in their mind from last night. And we talked to April and to Coach Lee about, what can they do to not let that happen. So being so fresh in their minds, I'm sure they're over there talking about, hey, we need to take this and not let these things happen again. We need to come out with the same type of intensity, maybe a little bit cleaner volleyball, but let's not let happen today what happened last night.
Yeah, and I think the word you really hit on there is clean, because the Knights did a lot of good things last night. They did come away with the victory. We've talked before about how hard it is to coach a team after a victory, but it certainly wasn't clean.
No, not at all.
And even in the sets that they won, I think the fourth set particularly, they really, of any of the sets, I think that was the cleanest. That was the most decisive. But all of the other three, not clean, not pretty, not really controlled.
Yeah, and that's got to be one of the concerning things for Coach Lee. This time of the year, the volleyball should be a whole lot cleaner. We shouldn't have these long mental lapses where we take off 4 or 5 points at a time. It should be a lot cleaner. The passing should be cleaner, knowing that you've been working beside somebody for so long that you should just know what's going to happen, and that's got to be very concerning for Coach Lee.
Well, plenty of concerns, I'm sure. Lots of stress at this point, particularly as you look at the importance of this game. Again, a win sends them to the postseason, which will be great for this team. It'll be great for this sport here at Southern Virginia, and a first all around. That's a big thing to emphasize. Since joining conferences in the NCAA Division III last year, this would be a huge stepping stone for Southern Virginia athletics as a whole.
Yeah, and our first year eligibility-wise for conference play, still not eligible for NCAA play to go past the conference, but your first year that you're eligible for conference play and being able to get in it against some established teams that's been in this conference for 10, 15 years would just be a great stepping stone for not only the program but for the school itself and to legitimize us as being a part of that conference.
Very, very true. And the women's volleyball team here leading the way in that. Some of the other sports don't look like they'll be heading to the postseason this year, but nice to see. And frankly, that's to be expected your first year as the new kid on the block in the program, particularly when you're not just changing a conference but going up in caliber from NAIA to NCAA Division III. But nice to have the women here leading the way for the Knights.
So we have Tabitha Green that's checked in now, it looks like, for Melissa Owen.
Beth Schlecker's service starts off immediately into Pollock.
And just like last night, there's one person that has the Knights number, and today it's Schlicker.
That one, an overpass that time by Eaton, who, as we've mentioned before, a great player, but not her best spot in the back line. It's not her strength.
And this is eerily familiar from less than 24 hours ago.
Yes, it is. Klustick finds the newly entered Tabitha Green. Twice in a row. Good save by Wesley. Over to the back line. Ramito, Klustick, over and two, dug out well. Ramito, Klustick, Eaton. What a sharp angle on that one.
And Green is in for Phillips. Excuse me, I said in for Owen, but Green's in for Phillips, outside hitter.
And had a couple of good connections that time in that position. Klustick service now to Marshall. Hard hit down that time. That's Charlene Coyne.
We're just trying to peer down to see if anything is going on with Phillips as to why she's not in the match right now. Can't see her even, so she must be in the middle of the pack there, standing and cheering for the team.
Oh, Tony Graves Brown service there. That was set by Klustick. Nobody home on the spike. You can tell getting a little frustrated with each other on that after this slow start. Sinker, Bennett. Klustick barely able to get under it. Pollock able to send it over. And luckily, free ball back over. The Knights now with a better opportunity. Bennett, Klustick, and hard shot. Boy, what elevation. Caitlin Eaton just getting up so high on that.
McKenna Coster checks in now for Green. It looks like Coach Lee's trying to get a lot of people in to this match to get some experience in games.
Coster saw some action last night as well. Did well when the Knights needed her there. Deflected at the line. Coster gets under it. Klustick. Pollock.
Pollock hit the antenna.
Just a hair off on that. And the Knights really struggling so far, as you mentioned, eerily familiar. A word we use because it's appropriate, not just because, I was almost say Valentine's Day. Halloween is approaching. It tells you my feelings on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, that can be very eerie for some of us if we forget it with our wives, right?
Yes, it can.
Yeah, there seems to be no cohesion right now with the Knights, which is very disturbing.
Eaton service. Taken well. Push to the back line. Coster. Klustick. Oh, and a hard shot by Barry, but sent right back at her. Perhaps should have played that in a little different direction.
Yeah, Caitlin came in straight ahead and tried to hit straight ahead, and that's where the block is. They can't cover the angle, so she needs to vary up her angle, approach it a little bit more of a 45-degree angle.
Cody Zielkowski with the service. Bennett. Klustick. Ramito. That'll do it.
Yeah, it's nice sometimes to see the ball almost get stuck in the floor. And we have several of those people that can do that and really get the crowd cranked up. It's nice to see that some of the football players have traveled down to support the volleyball team today.
Yeah, especially since I saw the volleyball team going up to their game as well. That one misplayed at the net just a little bit. Tatum Jones unable to get underneath it enough to power it where it needs to go. And the Knights now just down by 1, which frankly is surprising considering how poorly they've played this set.
The Wolverines have let them come back into this a little bit more with errors like that.
What a smart play by Bennett. Looked to get underneath that one, realized at the last second it was going to go long and able to get out of the way of it. What a split-second decision you have to make, because you have to not just make it, but make it in enough time to get out of the way.
Yeah, she's learned anything at her head and shoulders she needs to get out of the way of because it's going to go long.
Boy, what a tough wall. Back over, and Pollock. Wow. First of all credit in the world to Owen and Barry, just making it so difficult. And then Vanessa Pollock spiking it down. It immediately comes back over and 1. She's barely landed, goes up a second time and puts it down again. The second one, just too much to be able to handle. And the Knights have retaken the lead after a very slow start.
Yeah, and we can't overemphasize the athletic ability that takes to be able to land and go right back up, and plus leaning back and get underneath the ball and put the top spin on it. But again, it's nice to see Pollock get the score and not jump up and down like she just won the World Series or the NCAA championship. Conserve some energy, be excited about it, and she was. And the team also be excited about it. But again, conserve some energy. Act like you've been there before. And that's something that this team is learning how to do. Show the enthusiasm, but not going overboard with it.
Well, and if I can disagree with you slightly, I would say that there are times where it's appropriate. There are times where your team needs a shot in the arm, and that emotion can really give them that. But to do it on every play, I think may be burning a little bit too much energy. So, but you're right. They're playing a lot more controlled, and use it when you need it. You don't always run full bore.
Exactly.
Arkansas's service. So I'm going to say something we have never said before on the broadcast, which is after a timeout, you really need to just keep the serve in. You heard it here first.
Yeah, this is something new that we're trying to get to, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I can.
7 apiece. Bennett. Arkansas. Pollock. Off the hands of the defender, and once again, too difficult to handle. So they get it right back, but perhaps shouldn't have lost in the first place.
Perhaps so. Make it more difficult for Wesley to score points instead of just giving it to him by hitting the ball out of bounds.
Tabitha Green back in. Pollock at the service line. Touched over. Green. Arkansas. Owen. And a little too much on that one. And this one's turned into a dogfight.
You know, Melissa's so tall that she really needs to learn how to snap down a little bit more on that ball to get more topspin so it'll dive a little bit quicker.
Libero Megan Marshall at the line for Wesley. Very low. Pollock, good job getting under it. Arkansas. Barry. And slow to react by Wesley after that one. A good dig initially, but no one seeming to make the effort to get under it for a second hit.
Yeah, they're starting to spectate, and plus with Barry being the go-to player now, it's not something that you find in your scouting report.
Over in 2, Arkansas, Bennett, and great job by Owen that time. What's the strategy in the over on 2 that time?
Well, I don't know.
I mean, we've seen Tlustik do it where you can just where she snaps it over and falls down very quickly. That time, though, very high. It was like a set to the other team. Oh, great set that time. Arkansas able to play way up to the net, stay out of the net itself, though, and give the perfect set back to Owen.
Better arm swing by Owen. She's starting to find that slot where she can really snap down on the ball. Very
low serve. Comes in hard. And able to get through Owen and Eaton, arguably the best front line the Knights have.
Could be, definitely. As far as height-wise also, but, you know, you put Ramito in there with Eaton too.
Sure.
You know, you don't lose anything. And Barry has been playing well, so there's no real weak links in the front line now for the Knights.
Pollock, Arkansas, and quickly put down by Eaton, but still alive. That one into the back. Arkansas. Pollock over by Bennett. And miscommunication that time again. That's Beth Schlecker and Megan Marshall taking too long to decide who's got it.
And that's Marshall's ball. She's the defensive captain. She's the libero back there, and anything that she can get to, she has to take.
Well, just not quickly enough adjusted to. Flustic service now. That's Marshall. Dug out by Bennett. Flustic. Great shot over by Green, and that'll finish it. Great job by Green. For as much as we've seen players get in the net, she went very hard at it, and as she hit it, leaned back, stepped under it, but was able to get back and avoid that.
And was able to be, when she did hit it, she was outside the antennas, and that's one of the new rules. If you can hit the net or the stanchions outside the antennas, and it doesn't count as being in the net.
So there's a double hit. And point over the Knights again, going on a bit of a run now, leading 14-9 in the second set after taking the first one. Tlustic has had some very good runs from the service line. And that one just short. It will prolong this one. She's just, I don't know what it is. It doesn't really seem like Caitlin Tlustic's serves are much different than some other players. She just stays on that line for a long time.
She has a lot of movement on her ball. It's a jump float serve, which once the ball starts getting about 3 or 4 feet from the net, it starts to move side to side.
Marshall able to get under that one. Has to send it over again. Pollock, Flustic, Ramito with the push, and keeps it in. And the Knights are on fire, and the Wolverines know it, calling a timeout. 16-9 now. This game was very much in dispute. I believe we were tied at 8, and since then an 8-1 run. Boy, the Knights are just coming alive.
Yeah, and it's good to see not a sign of let's revert back to last night. You know, they got behind 2 or 3 points to begin with, able to get back to be tied, and now up by 7 points. It's nice to see that they're able to beat the teams that they're supposed to beat in the fashion that they're supposed to beat them. Not saying that Wesley's not a good team, but they have fallen on hard times over the past several matches, and the Knights have been on an uptrend. So, you know, coming into this match on paper, the Knights should win.
Yeah, peaking at the right time. Are you prepared to say that there's not a cursed side of the floor now?
In this match, yes.
So perhaps there is a curse. It's just not necessarily strong enough to overcome in all scenarios.
It was cursed last night. They got the curse off for today.
Okay, that was good of them. Flustic service again, tough to handle, and put right back down. Shannon Ramito and Caitlin Eaton, arguably the toughest front wall.
You know, we could argue that all day long. And if we asked each one of the players, they would argue themselves.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's do that someday. Flustic service in again, and a miss hit that time. Cody Zielkowski trying to handle that and negating the benefit of that timeout with 2 quick points afterwards. And Flustic's service continues. And that time it continues by the benefit of the net.
And that is the greatest serve in the world right now. When it hits the net cord and falls over, there's not a lot you can do. You might be able to get it up. It'll be a free ball coming back. When they first changed that rule, I was very much against it. But, you know, if you can get some points off of it, get some points off of it.
And how else would that long service end?
Service error.
But very, very much damage done first. The Knights now handily in charge of this one with a 9-point lead. Tioni Graves-Brown back. Bennett. Flustic. Oh, that one down into the court. Saved by the moment. The Knights scrambling to try to get up on that one. But Ramito's shot just down into the net.
That was a great lateral pass by April Bennett, being able to get outside her body and get the ball right to the setter's position.
Graves-Brown again to the back line. Bennett. Flustic. Mistimed a bit by Eaton, but able to preserve the possession for the moment. Flustic again, and Ramito putting that one down hard. Tabitha Green a little tentative on that first hit, but it gets the job done. And that's going to bring a couple other substitutions. Emma Evans coming into the lineup along with McKenna Coster. Evans, not sure we've seen her.
No, we haven't seen her yet this year.
So it'll be interesting to see what she can bring to the table for the Knights as well. Coster at the service line to Marshall. Schlecker and then over. That one's going to fly wide.
And it'd be great if Coster could serve this game out. Again, let the Knights win the match, but win it in a fashion where they don't have to expend a lot of energy going into the 2 matches they have next week.
Coster sends that one over and is able to find a hole. Great effort that time by Tony Graves Brown, but unable to get under that sinker. The Knights 3 points away from closing it out. That one looked like it was a little bit of a screwball as well. Cuts to the outside. Graves Brown thinking that was going to go out of bounds, but stayed in by a pretty wide margin in the end.
And that's that nice knuckleball float serve that they have and they work on every day.
Coster over again. This time it is dug out. Into the net. And, Coach, you called it. Coster potentially closing this one out. And she's done very well from the service line, able to put away, I believe, 4 straight now. And now looking for set point. Oh, Pollock, Eaton, and the newly entered Evans. Oh, that one into the back. Tough job, Bennett trying to preserve that one, but goes off her fingertips and out. 24-12 now. All the Knights need to do is prevent a 12-point run, and they've got this one. And what do you know?
Ends on a service error. We've seen a lot of sets end on service errors.
Thank you kindly. Clearly you're done with this set, and that's okay. We'll take it. 2 sets now in the books. The first one, I believe, 25-17, 25-16, somewhere in that range.
Yes.
And then the Knights winning the second one, 25-12. Great set. You like to see it getting even better as you go. 2 down, potentially 1 to go.
And it'd be great to, again, win in 3. Just looking over the CAC ticker, Marymount lost to Christopher Newport. So Christopher Newport now is 8-0. Marymount has fallen to 2 losses, the same as the Knights have, but the Knights hold the tiebreaker over them. So again, if both teams win out on Wednesday and next Saturday, Southern Virginia is seeded number 2, and we will have a home conference tournament game.
Boy, I can just imagine how ruckus this gym will be for that experience.
We might have to sell our seats.
Hey, if we sold our seats, that means we wouldn't have to commentate.
Well, I'd like to commentate, but we could use my office.
No, that's true.
Window,
there you go.
Make a little money on the side by selling front row seats.
There you go. I like it. Is that an NCAA violation? Is Grow Rock going to get?
Not for us.
We're good.
No, we're good. We're
Outstanding.
Good.
Well then, hey,
we're ticket brokers.
You didn't hear any of that. We're not going to do that. But it would be a great experience to have that home game here for the conference tournament.
So I'm sure that Coach Lee may not know that. The match just ended a few minutes ago, and she's into this match as much as she can be, and again have a little bit of thought about process of what's going on there. So maybe we can break it to her at the end of the match. Just put the more pressure on her to win out against Frostburg and against Penn State Harrisburg, 2 teams that, again, kind of like Wesley, on a downward spiral a little bit, and the Knights should be able to win those matches, hopefully 3-0, if not 3-0, in less than 5.
Well, and great news that those are the remaining opponents, but also holding the tiebreaker against Marymount, I think, is big because now we're talking about not just getting in the tournament, but who you're going to see in the tournament, knowing that you've already got a win against Marymount under your belt. The big threat still, Christopher Newport, who has just been so good.
Well, the good news is if the Knights remain seeded second, they potentially wouldn't see them until the tournament championship game. You know, and again, with the Knights not being able to go to the NCAA tournament, wouldn't it be just fantastic if they could somehow pull that win out and say, well, we're so good that we have to send our second-place team to the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, we would have been there. And that's convenient because you can say, who knows what we would have done if we would have gotten there.
Exactly.
Y'all are lucky. Y'all lucky I didn't come down there. Caitlin Tlustik starting off. What a great run of service she had in the last set. Some great runs she's had this year, and starts it off in a similar fashion.
And so we have Hannah Phillips is back in. Natalie Workman's in for Pollock, at least in the back row. I don't think she's going to be in the front row for Vanessa.
That one's skipping off the net court as well. And blocked at the net, but it drops on the side of the Knights. Point over the Wolverines.
Yeah, it got caught on Shannon's chest a little bit. She tried to pop it up with her hands, got caught for a lift.
Bennett, Tlustik. And coming off the hands of Tlustik, a little bit odd too. Difficult second hit for her to have to make.
Yeah, but if you ask April, that was totally on her. It pulled Caitlin off the net way too far.
And the ace that time, Chione Graves-Brown. And looks like there's just something about being number 10 and being on the service line today.
Exactly.
3-0 the lead now. And that went over in the first hit as well.
And the Knights aren't moving in unison. They're trying to just stab at the ball instead of moving their feet to the ball.
It's much like the second set started, but also much like the second set last night started, that ended very, very differently than each other. Hard shot that time by Ramito, and a great, very long set across by Tlustik.
And those are the sets I like to see from Caitlin. Those ones that they call a shoot set. She has to put a lot of pace on it. Again, that creates one-on-one blocking, and our hitters have won the majority of those by a landslide.
And a Phillips service, push shot over. Bennett, Tlustik, short set to Eaton. That one bounces off the floor and then off of the head of Megan Marshall.
And that's where Caitlin is most effective. You notice that when she came in, she was facing us over on the sidelines and was able to create an angle for her to find the floor.
Very true. Hard to the outside to Tynes. Phillips digs it out, but cannot keep it in. So, again, very much like the last set. Starts out favoring the Wolverines. Becomes a little bit more of a hotly contested match. The Knights able to close that one off. A long service by Tlustik. Bennett, Tlustik, Ramito, over in one. Tlustik, Bennett, Ramito.
And we got a touch.
And that'll do it.
And you notice when April's back there and she's starting to set the ball overhand, she's always checking her feet. She got called, I think, for the first time this year for a back row attack by setting the ball in front of the attack line. So she's checking her feet more often now to make sure she's behind that line.
Caitlin Eaton, another dangerous server for the Knights. Back to the line. Tynes again plays that one down into the net.
And with that high set that Wesley uses, it's giving our blockers plenty of time to get over, get set, and time their jump to make that attempt very hard.
Blocked down hard again. The Knights front row making themselves felt. And once again, Callan Berry. Great effort.
She may be our player of the game. Just we can't give her anything for it.
It's true. And that time, Ramito going up a little trickeration.
That was a great double that the Knights pulled there. Again, you don't know where to go, and that freed Callan up just to hammer the ball straight down.
The Knights retake the lead in this one. Eaton with a good stretch of service. Dug out by Eaton. And Tlustik to Ramito, and it falls right where the Knights need it to. Lead extended.
And it seems like the Knights, and you've said this before, they love to play from behind. which is not a good sign going into a tournament.
They do. Oh, off the hands. It's a great push shot that time at the net by the Wolverines, getting it to deflect off the hands of the defender, not giving the Knights enough time to adjust and get underneath it. Knights scrambling to try to do so, but just not quite enough. Cody Zielkowski. Taking well Bennett this time, and that one very long by Tabitha Green.
Tabitha got way up underneath that ball and had to reach back. And then with that angle, there's not much you can do except settle it out of bounds.
Zielkowski again. Phillips, slew stick, Green. Handled, still alive, pushed over. Phillips, slew stick, Barry.
And it appears that Wesley is playing a player-up defense, which means the setter's playing right behind the block. That leaves only 2 people in the back row. If you got a great block, that's a great defense to run. If you don't have a great block, you leave wide open spots on the floor.
Well, and is it typical that when they go down the middle like that, the back line isn't even attempting to get underneath it?
Well, when you hit it that hard,
fair.
Not a lot you can do.
Valid. Arkansas, Owen, dug out. Roll. Phillips, Arkansas, Green. Finds the floor. The Knights extending the lead just a little bit.
And if the viewers will watch number 21, Cody Zalowski, she's the setter. She's following the block. That leaves 2 defenders to cover 30 feet across in the back.
Arkansas's service now. Able to dig that one out. Owen, great job. Phillips over. Taken by Marshall. Tynes puts it through long. Through the Knights' hands. No touch. Point to the Knights.
And this is a great feeling that the Knights have to have. It's almost 6 hours from Delaware down here. And there's nothing more than you want to do is send somebody packing back home as quickly as possible.
Absolutely. That one played into the net by Tania Rounds. That'll force the timeout. And the Knights again, after a shaky start, looking like they've got this one under control, now leading 12-7. It looks very similar to the second set.
Yeah, it does. And one of the problems that we've seen before is the Knights they tend to play to the capacity of their opponents. If their opponent is really strong, they're going to play really strong. If their opponent is even with them, coming in talent-wise, they'll play right with them. And we've seen, unfortunately, that when teams come in that aren't as good as the Knights, they play down to their level.
Well, and Lynchburg College last night, again, the beginning of this set looked a lot like the beginning of the second set last night. And perhaps just because Lynchburg College is a more difficult team, they got way behind, and that one just got away from them. They never came back in that one.
And that's the danger of getting behind to a really good team is they understand, we got you, and we're going to put you away.
Arkansas now looking to be that aggressor. We will, for the second time today, say something that we've never said before on the broadcast, which is coming out of a timeout. Should really get it over the net.
Just lollipop the serve in. That's one of the cardinal sins of volleyball is not getting the serve in.
Because what's the worst that could happen? They shove it right down your throat, and you're just where you would have been had you served it into the net. Hard push to the back line. Phillips, Arkansas, buried, blocked.
And that time the spacing up front just wasn't what the Knights needed. Everybody was crammed into the middle, so the blockers never had to move.
Yeah, this is kind of an odd lineup for the Knights right now. I'm not sure we've seen this combination yet this season. Perhaps that being the issue right now. Bennett, Arkansas, Barry, blocked. Owen, dug out again. Over by Marshall. Phillips, Arkansas, Green, still alive.
We have a lift. Oh, a double hit on that. Thought it was a lift.
That was probably that too.
And, with Tabitha Green not being a starter for the team and not getting a lot of minutes, you can see that the setters are trying to force feed her a lot to get her confidence up to a level that they feel like they need it for the rest of the year.
Natalie Workman now into the lineup and immediately into the action. Played well by Barry on the overpass. And that one splits the defenders.
Yeah, that was just poor spacing again on the Knights with their block. They need to be side by side, almost shoulders touching to put that united front up.
When we were talking about lineups we haven't seen before from the Knights, Workman coming in the lineup with this particular group makes that even more so the case. Barry plays it down into the net again, and that gap closing the Knights' lead down to 2.
Yeah, unfamiliarity with everybody on the floor. Just one person not in their regular position causes you to want and tend to try to do more than normal.
Service from Megan Marshall, now broken, and it goes libero to libero as April Bennett will serve now for the Knights.
But Arkansas does have her full complement of frontline players that she's used to working with.
Oh, great touch shot that time. Bennett, Arkansas, Phillips. Coming back from Graves Brown. And a diving effort by Phillips. Saves it for the moment, but not enough to make a possession out of it.
Again, this yo-yoing back and forth. Oh, we're going to play really cohesive, and oh, we're not going to play really cohesive. It's got to be nerve-wracking for Coach Lee. Owen with the shot over the top, dug up. Overpass. Played up by the Knights. Phillips.
And definitely off the hands that time. Marshall trying to get underneath it.
Phillips with a great shot there. Hard cross court, able to play it off not just the blocker's hands, but also the back row's hands too. So it's a double shot right there.
Well, Caitlin Tlustik now back in the lineup at the service line where she's done so much damage. Oh, and a push over, but Eaton just hanging in the air long enough to put it down.
And they were nice enough not to call in the net on the Wolverines, give Caitlin another block.
It is kind. Tlustik service into the net.
Was that Coach Dryden saying why?
I believe it was.
Even she is with us. So it's not just you and me.
Nope. We've made the comparison before, too. It's like missing your free throws. Like, you can't miss your free throws. There's not a person in front of you. The basket isn't moving. The angle, there's no calculation. There's no anything to it. It's just, it's consistency. It's muscle memory. It's the same thing every time. And particularly I would say even more so in volleyball because, A, you've got a bigger area you're trying to get into, but B, if they're trying to break your service, it means you've done it correctly 4 or 5 or 6 times in a row. Just do it again. You've had a break. You can relax, though. Do it again.
You're preaching to the choir. I mean, I don't know what the mentality is. I wish I could understand it. But it's something that it just seems to be prevalent in volleyball right now as far as, oh, let's call a timeout. We know they're going to miss the serve after we call a timeout. Well, I'm still going to hit it hard, so here you go. Here, have a point.
It's like icing a kicker.
Except that doesn't work that much.
That's true. And this clearly does. Bennett. Tlustik. Eaton.
And Wesley, she kept the ball in, but it gave them a chance to at least play defense against the point.
True. Green getting some extended minutes, but Ramito and Eaton back in with Tlustik, Phillips, and Bennett. This one preserved. Nah, just kidding. Good attempt by Jessica Tynes. Gets it over the net, but not inbounds.
And probably a little bit of worry about how low the ceiling is, too.
Yeah.
Cause that pass to be shanked off.
Phillips service again. She's also done very well from there today. And that one, she gets to roll right down the bodies of the front line, Eaton and Green.
And Tabitha needs to press her hands a little bit further across the net so it prevent that from falling down on her. Pollock checks in for Green now. I think Coach Lee has said enough's enough.
Yeah.
Let's get everybody back on the same page.
That's because the soccer game just started. I'm sure they want to get up there for that. Pollock touches it. Bennett saves. Slustik off, to Ramito off the hands of the defender. Blocked at the net is Tynes. Over again, free ball, Phillips. Slustik, Ramito. Wow, great diving save by Tioni Graves. Brown, perhaps so impressive her team wasn't ready for it. Didn't know how to react.
Whenever you see a free ball coming over, again, you got to know on the defensive side that you've got to play by moving your feet quickly.
Mishandled serve that time by Jessica Tynes. 20-15. The Knights looking to close this one out.
Again, not being able to turn your hands back into the middle of the court causes the attempt to go out of bounds. Point for Wesley. Have 21 Cody Zolakowski back to serve for Wesley now. And she's been one of the tougher servers that the Knights have faced today.
Back line, Phillips, Slustik, Barry. And one step closer now, 4 points away.
Arkansas and Owen in now. And again, it'd be nice if Arkansas could finish it off on the service line.
Great block at the net that time by Barry. Arkansas, Barry again. Free ball over, Phillips. Arkansas, Pollock, helped out by the net and hurt by the net on that one. Tynes pushed over, Pollock, Arkansas, Owen finds the floor.
Again, great job with her arm swing, being able to get enough topspin on the ball to find that open spot against that player up defense.
.3 points away if you can keep it out of the net.
Well, again, side-out volleyball will play for the Knights to win this set and match. But again, we don't really want side-out volleyball. We want to see some more clean volleyball to finish this off. 32, Rachel Hostler in to serve. Owen gets blocked at the net.
That was great short set by Arkansas and Owen looking to connect, but looked like the Wolverines were ready for it that time.
And they're not going quietly.
Bennett, Arkansas, and a lot of elevation on that one. Barry getting up, looked like they were expecting the set to go over to Owen.
Yeah, and Barry again, a little bit quick on her arm swing, caught the top of the tape, got down for the point.
That one very long, not touched, and we potentially have set and match point here, 24-18. Vanessa Pollock looking to close. Arkansas, Bennett, Phillips. Oh, over on two, and it's out.
There it is.
That'll do it. And the Southern Virginia Knights women's volleyball team win not only the match against the Wesley Wolverines, but qualify for the postseason tournament in the CAC. Again, the first team in Southern Virginia history to do so. And as we mentioned, with Marymount falling to Christopher Newport, if they can take care of business in their next couple of games, we're not just talking about getting in, we're talking about a second seed as well.
Yeah, they have to just win out against Frostburg and against Penn State Harrisburg, which they should be able to do. And when they do that, we should have a home match for the CAC tournament.
Yeah, what an environment that will be. Such an exciting thing for the Knights. Even getting in is such a big accomplishment for them. But not only to do that, but to have potentially home field advantage as well. Even better. Hang tight with us for just a second. We've got a couple of folks coming over. Head coach Brittany Lee, who we've had on before, and I guess we'll call it our player of the game, Callan Berry. We'll have her on the broadcast with you here as well. And with that, Mike, we'll turn that interview over to you here in just a second.
All right. We're back with Coach Lee and with Callan Berry. Coach Lee, a great game today. Much better and cleaner a little bit more than last night. Did you know, though, that Marymount lost to CNU earlier on this afternoon?
No, I was waiting to find that out,
okay,
so I did not know that.
Congratulations. We kind of figured it out that if you win out now, you'll be the second seed in the tournament, which means a home match, right? Mm-hmm. And, we talked about this yesterday a little bit. What do you think that would do for your young ladies going into that tournament, being able to play at home?
That would be huge. Our crowd, our own gym, we're used to, not having to travel is huge.
And again, the atmosphere would be a little bit electric here, being the first time that we've been able to not only been in the conference tournament for NCAA, but to also host it would be well, it's a first, and it's something that we're looking forward to having you fulfill. So what's the one thing that we're looking forward now to the next match? What's something that you would like to focus on a little bit more to have the Knights be a little bit cleaner in their volleyball?
Starting off, we have to start matches. To lose the first 5 points is really hard to get back into the game. So if we can start the match from the very beginning and have energy from the very beginning, we'll play a lot better.
Yeah, and as you get further into the conference tournament, that might be a little bit more detrimental getting that far behind.
Yeah.
All right. And our unofficial player of the game, Callan Berry. Callan, we've watched you develop over this year, some out of necessity when Shannon went down. What do you think is your greatest asset to the team?
I just like bringing energy. I like when we're all excited together. I think just being positive and trying to bring the team together when we're down.
Excellent. And we've noticed that you're not or haven't been one of the focal points of the offense, but in the last 2 or 3 matches that your efficiency rating is through the roof. And now teams aren't able to focus on maybe Caitlin Eaton or Vanessa Pollock or Hannah Phillips, but now Kaylin's up there. Oh, now we got to really spread things out. And, that development we've watched has been fun to see. Going forward, what do you think that you need to do as a team to make sure that not only the first round of the playoffs is here, but potentially the second round too?
I think just pulling together, pulling through. We know we can do it. We know we can work hard. Just like Coach said, just working hard from the very beginning and giving it everything we have from the get-go. It's going to be huge for us. All
right. Well, congratulations to both of you. We'll let you go celebrate.
Thank you.
Congratulations on becoming the first team to be qualified for the CAC tournament and potentially for having a home game. Excellent job. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And again, here at the barn, this is Mike Harmon for Art Furler. The Knights win in 3 today, which is a great sign for them. They've secured a spot at the CAC tournament, potentially a second seed for the CAC tournament. They'll be able to secure that with a game on Wednesday and next Saturday. Again, this is one of the first that the program's going through again, and a lot of rebirth for the Knights team. Join us again or very soon for the women's and men's soccer team or game that's going on, and we will talk to you then.